Welcome to Mind Evolution. It's great to have you with us. Today, we're diving into something that, let's be honest, touches every single one of us. How to fix those relationships that feel, well, broken. Whether it's strained or just distant, it's a tough spot to be in, so let's unpack what we can actually do about it.
Have you ever had that feeling, that sinking feeling that a connection with someone you care about is just shattered? The good news is it's almost never true. Real, lasting repair is almost always possible. It really just comes down to spotting and then stopping a few key mistakes we all tend to make. So, to get started, we've got to look at what's actually causing the damage in the first place. You see, research has uncovered 3 really toxic communication habits that can quietly act like poison in any relationship. Let's pull back the curtain and see what they are. Here they are. They're often called the 3 C's of communication breakdown: contempt, condescension, and character assassination. I know, they sound intense, but once you learn to spot these, you are already halfway to fixing the problem.
First up, we have contempt. And you gotta know, this is the big one. It's seen as the most corrosive, the most damaging of the 3, because it's not just about your words, it's a deep down feeling. In fact, top researchers have shown it's the single biggest predictor of divorce. It's that feeling that the other person is fundamentally bad, and you start communicating with ill will, and trust me, they can feel that, no matter how nice your words are.
And this really gets to the core of it, right? If that feeling of contempt is there, no fancy communication trick is gonna work. It's like trying to build a house on a cracked foundation. You have to fix the feeling first, before you can even think about fixing the words. Okay, next up is condescension. Now, this one is sneaky. It's that tone of voice, that subtle way of talking that says, "I'm smarter," or "I'm better than you." And the most damaging part? A lot of the time, the person doing it has absolutely no clue. And check this out. It's pretty wild how often this just flies under the radar. Studies show that a huge chunk of people can't even identify a condescending tone when they hear it. That lack of awareness is a massive and often invisible wall in our communication. And the third C is character assassination. This is when a disagreement stops being about what someone did and becomes about who they are. You start throwing around labels like "you're a liar" or "you're just an awful person." You're attacking their very identity. And those kinds of wounds are incredibly hard to come back from. Okay, so we've laid out the poisons. The big question now is, what's the antidote? Well, it all starts with one single foundational shift in how we look at other people. This right here, this is the idea that changes the entire game. It's the simple yet profound understanding that every single person you meet is carrying their own baggage, their own struggles, their own history that you probably know nothing about. And when you really adopt this mindset, everything starts to change. It just naturally makes you more patient, more kind. You stop being so judgmental because you realize, hey, maybe their reaction isn't even about me. Maybe it's being triggered by something from their past that I can't even see. Now, let's be really clear. This doesn't mean you have to become their therapist. Your job isn't to fix their past. It's simply to acknowledge that it's there, that it's real. And that awareness alone is a powerful act of compassion that can stop a conflict in its tracks. So once we have that new mindset locked in, we can move on to the actual tools for repair. I like to think of them as 2 sides of the same really powerful coin: appreciation and apology. And really, it all boils down to this choice. Are you operating from an ego-driven mindset where it's all about blame and being right? Or are you in a repair-focused mindset where the goal is connection and owning your part of the mess? It's about protecting the relationship, not your ego. The first side of our coin is appreciation. And we're talking about more than just saying thank you. This means you actively choose to see the whole person, their good intentions, their own struggles, their freedom to be who they are. It's about building that foundation of respect even when you're in the middle of a disagreement. The other side is the apology. And here's the key: apologize quickly. Now, you're not necessarily apologizing because you were wrong. You're apologizing because the interaction between the two of you went badly. A simple, "hey, I'm sorry that got so tense," immediately takes the ego out of the equation and puts the focus back on the connection. All right, finally, let's talk about a skill that, when you get it right, is like a superpower for fixing relationships. And that is the ability to truly listen and just create space for the other person to let it all out. It all starts right here. Let them express themselves without you immediately putting a label on it. Fight that urge to think, oh, here they go again, or they're being so dramatic. Just allow them to speak without your judgment. And it really helps to reframe what's going on. You see, what you might call venting, they probably experience as sharing or just thinking out loud. It's how they process things. And by not labeling it, you give them the space they need to do that. This is one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can ever make. Just because someone else is expressing a lot of anger or sadness, it does not mean you have to absorb it and make it your emotion. You can be a calm, steady presence for them without getting sucked into their emotional storm. So, when we put all of this together, what's the one big idea that ties it all up? Well, it comes down to a fundamental choice you have to make in every conflict. Someone has to be the first one to let go of the need to be right. Someone has to choose humility over pride, compassion over contempt, and a real desire to serve the relationship instead of the desire to win the fight. And that person can be you. And that leaves us with a final question for you. With these new tools in your pocket, avoiding the 3 C's, remembering everyone has their own struggles, and choosing connection over ego, what one conversation in your life can you go into differently, starting right now? Here at Mind Evolution, we believe this is how true personal growth happens. So if you found this helpful, please give us a like, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more. And if you want to go even deeper, check out our premium package for exclusive content, exercises, and meditations to help you on your journey. Thanks so much for watching.